Hi everyone. Oh wow. Yeah, I know I'm up against some pretty intense stuff this time of the evening. Um, on a Tu excuse me, my goodness, on a Tuesday. Uh, yeah, I'm not wearing any makeup. I don't look great. I don't feel great. For a couple of reasons. Still battling the monster sinus infection, but hey, we got pride flags up. It's still Pride Month. Let's enjoy it. Um, and I do need to give. Oh, I thought I had this going. I'm sorry. I do need to give a shout out to my patrons, and we have had a couple of recent developments. So, announcements, general Wine and Reason channel announcements. I feel really shitty about the fact that um, I have not been able to devote the time to creating good patron content. So after consulting with some of my patrons, particularly Mark Caesar, thank you very much, sir, and some other folks. Now, this was not, by the way, this was not Mark Caesar's suggestion. This is what came out of a dialogue we were having. I've decided not to charge my patrons for the time being. I'm keeping the Patreon page up, but you will not be charged for July because I don't believe in separating people from their hard-earned money for content that is kind of half-assed. And frankly, that's how I've been doing it. And normally, I'm a whole ass or nothing person, so it's you know it's not cool. Um, but what motivated me to do the stream tonight is the fact that yesterday I went to refill my mood stabilizer, which I absolutely need. It took me a very long time to figure out exactly, the dosage and the timing of that dosage, which is very important for anyone who deals with mental illness and lives with it on a daily basis. Um, it took me a very long time to find the right combination of drugs that work for me. And when I went to the pharmacy, I was told by the pharmacist, and this is not her fault. I mean, the folks at my pharmacy have my back. They always have. So shout out to Michelle at CVS in Memphis. I'm not going to say any more than that. I'm not even going to say like which CVS in Memphis. There are a lot. But thank you for having my back. You always have. I don't think she watches this, but if she does, you're amazing. Um, and to everyone that works at the CVS I go to, you all know me, and you're uh, basically what has happened is a pharmaceutical company. So I take 750 milligrams of my mood stabilizer daily. I normally take that, or have up until just now, taken that in three 250 milligram tablets. Well, apparently, a pharmaceutical company came out with a 500 milligram tablet of the same mood stabilizer that I take. And now my insurance will not cover my mood stabilizer. So the reason I gave the shout out to Michelle is she was able to get me 3 days of my, yeah, and I am turning that so you don't see my address and shit, but yeah, she managed to get me a 3 day prescription of my pills. um it's still a bit confusing because I still need at least one 250 milligram tablet a day, as well as, when they get the 500 one, when my doctor approves it and they get the 500 one in, I'm still going to need that other 250 milligram one, but apparently my insurance company will not cover uh, three 250 milligram tablets because a 500 milligram tablet exists. Now, if you have ever dealt, if you live with mental illness, if you ever had mental illness issues in your life or with anyone you know, you have likely come against this roadblock before. And one of the most frustrating things about it is that they don't give you any notice. They don't even have to give you the notice that a landlord has to give you if you're being evicted, or if they want to make reservations, like renovations. Sorry, I am not having the best day. Yeah, so there's that. They don't have to tell you. Like I said, I went to go get my 3-month prescription from the pharmacy and was told I could only have 3 days. And this again is no one's fault. It just is what it. This part that I'm about to tell you, there is fault to be found, and I'm about to tell you about it. But this part is no one's fault. My psychiatrist's office is only open Wednesdays through Saturdays. So I found this out yesterday evening on a Monday. And yeah, the pharmacy has contacted my therapist's office, which means they left a message. I'm going to call them tomorrow when I know they're open during their business hours, just to make sure. But at the same time, like, I only had a 3-day supply. You see where this is going. If my psychiatrist, for whatever reason, and he is my psychiatrist is amazing, so please do not take this as anything against him. It's not like he was given notification either. I don't even know how, honestly, I don't even know how that would go about, but how that would happen, you know? But yeah, write an entirely new prescription. And he may not even be aware that this has happened with the change in the dosage and all of that, and the alteration of this medication. And so that is the frustrating part. And that's the part that I need to sort of bring to light and air out right now, is the fact, is the fact that pharmaceutical companies and insurance providers don't seem to give a fuck about anybody, except, they won't give you any advance notice. You just find out. And the thing about mental health care and meds is people like me, like, I'm bipolar. I have 2 anxiety disorders. I cannot go off my medication at a whim. It's not something I can skip for a day or 2 and be all right. That could go very badly for me and my function and my ability to function in the world. So I'm going to stop there for a second. I'm going to say hi to everybody who's in the chat. Hello, Junk Shop Library, my darling. It is so good to see you. Hey, Mr. Shadow Kitty. Hey, I miss you. Hey, Harmonica Man, I miss you too. I am reading your book. I'm behind as fuck because of work, but I am reading it. Geo Sam, it's so good to see you. Microraptor, oh my gosh. Hi, sweetheart. I have missed you too. How are you, darling? So it's really good to see all of you. Thank you for being in the chat. And yeah, and a quick shout out to my patrons who are not being charged for July and will not be charged for the foreseeable future. A bit of tea in Danish, Captain Timothy the Bold, Mark Caesar, Santi the Sane, Microraptor, Godless Granny, the incomparable Lavender Lady, and y'all give her all your love right now because she needs it. Junie the Apostate and PJ Smith. Thank you all so much. Yeah, Microraptor, we've missed you too. We really have. We've missed you too. We've missed everybody. And just between finally being employed again, which is awesome, but also the job being a lot more demanding than I initially realized. Yes, and by the way, I'm not complaining here. Like this job is providing fantastic health insurance, even though I am about to bitch about health insurance. But I'm bitching about health insurance in the general sense in the United States. because all the health companies, all the health insurance companies do this here. And it's bullshit. And it's one of the many reasons why we need a universal or a national healthcare system. It's one of, no, but this job, amazing health insurance, really great pay, but with increased money comes increased responsibility. And so I am working a lot. And if I sound bad and I sound funny, it's because Jung Shop and I are both still sick with a sinus infection that is slowly getting better. But there it is. Okay. So all of that aside, let's go to a source. I have two sources linked in the chat. I'm sorry, not in the chat, linked in the description. One of them was completely incorrect. I'm not quite sure how I did this, but I linked a patron-only video at one point, and I took that out. Hopefully it's gone, and yeah, and that didn't cause any problems. But okay, so let's take a look at just at the abstract from a study, from a publication, a peer-reviewed publication from 2005. Now, I realize that's from 2005, but I also want to point out that we didn't have good psychotropic medications for a long time. You know, that there was very much a time when I might have been medicated with Thorazine, or where I might have been put through insulin medication, which is a really freaky and disturbing practice. And for someone like me who comes from a family with a history of diabetes, that could have been very dangerous. So, you know, I'm really happy in terms of the psychotropic meds that are available today. You know, the mood stabilizers, the antidepressants, even going back to Prozac, like that was a revolution. That was a huge breakthrough in medical treatment of depression. Okay, so this is the Milbank Quarterly, and the title is Mental Health and Psychotropic Drugs, and this was published June of 2005. Okay, so the abstract reads, the place of innovation in psychotropic drugs has been the pace of innovation. I apologize. I am sitting way far away from the screen so that the camera stays in focus, and I have very poor eyesight, so I will attempt to read this correctly now. Okay. The abstract reads, the pace of innovation in psychotropic drugs has been over the past 15 years. There also have been unprecedented increases in spending on prescription drugs, generally, and psychotropic medications specifically. Now, I'm going to interject here really quickly and say that in 2005, a lot of psychotropic medications were not necessarily covered by insurance. Things like depression, anxiety, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia might have been considered pre-existing conditions, so insurance companies would not pay for those. So this is so horrible. It's so horrible. It's such a huge problem. Okay, going back to the abstract. Psychotropic medications are playing a more central role in treatment. Aside from me, brackets, that is true. They also are receiving close scrutiny from health insurers are playing a more central role in treatment. Oh, I'm sorry. I misread. They're receiving more scrutiny from health insurers, state budget makers, and ordinary citizens. Public policy actions regarding prescription drugs have the potential to significantly affect clinical care for mental disorders. The costs of this care to individuals and society at large, and the prospects for future scientific advances. This article outlines the policy issues related to psychotropic drugs with respect to their role in determining access to mental health treatment and the cost and quality of mental health care. So this is, even though this article was written some 15, 16 years ago, it is definitely worth reading. It's worth your time if you're interested in the cost of mental health care. And I and again, it is outdated, but it was difficult to find a more recent one that dealt with this exact issue. I'm not sure why that is. I did find, hey, Ox, good to see you. I did find on goodrx.com, which, if any of you have the GoodRx app, you know what this is. This is an app that helps you essentially shop price-wise between pharmacies for medications that have been prescribed to you. This does not work with controlled medications, like some of the medications for anxiety, for example, like benzodiazepines, medications for pain, for example, like any opioid. You GoodRx is not going to help you with that, because those are controlled very carefully for a good reason. And you can only, like in my state, you could, like for a benzodiazepine prescription, you can only switch it from one pharmacy to another once, which is a little scary because I had to do that when I changed jobs. And I'm just very lucky that the last job I had and my current job, the health insurance covers the same pharmacy chain. So, because I'm honestly not sure what would have happened. And for me, not having my anti-anxiety medication, even though it is a benzodiazepine, which is highly addictive, if when I don't have it, and I have tried to go without it, and I have been forced to go without it because of a bizarre shortage at a pharmacy, I do eventually get to the point where I can't leave my house. And that's because I have generalized anxiety disorder and I have panic disorder. And those two things get to a point where I can't function in society. Last year was a horrible year for all of us, but for people like me, it was horrible, but it was also kind of amazing because we had a legitimate excuse to not leave the house unless we had to. I feel kind of terrible saying that, but it kind of was awesome in that sense. Okay, but also all of the death and horror and badness, and I don't want to say that, ooh, 2020 was amazing. It was not. It was horrible. Okay, so this article, again, from a.com, from a money-making, website and company. But what's important is the title is Dose Optimization. What to do when your insurer doesn't cover your drug dosage. This is important. This was written by Ronalise Shai. She is a pharmaceutical. She has a degree in pharmacology and a bunch of other ones, 3 other ones that I don't even know what the letters all stand for, so good for her. This was published December 14th, 2018. And it discusses what to do if you've ever had to deal with your prescription not being covered, especially like I had to yesterday. It's a complete surprise because, again, insurers are apparently under no mandate to give anyone notice of these situations. And I find that particularly disturbing. I think there should be, I'm for like less legislation than more, but in this case, I think there should be a fucking law. I think if the that allows me to function in the world and to make a living and do my job and be a functioning human being, if I have to have it, and that this should include insulin, this should include anything that people have to have in order to continue to live and exist and function in the world, you should get your pharmacist should not be the person telling you, oh, by the way, there's a new dosage out now. Can't fill your prescription. Here's a 3-day emergency supply. Hopefully you can get in touch with your doctor by then. And like I said, my pharmacy also did contact my doctor and left a message, but it's going to be tomorrow before, they get that message in real time. And this is what is so disturbing. Also, another thing that's disturbing is it means that, depending on the dosage that you take of your meds, like say you take 3 250 milligram tablets a day. Well, do you take those at 3 different times a day? Do you take 1 in the morning and 2 at night? Do you take 2 in the morning or 1 at night? Depending on how you and your psychiatrist have determined to manage your mental illness and what works best for you, because everyone's chemistry is different. Now, this is not the case for me, luckily. I take 2 in the morning and 1 at night. That's how I've always done it. That's how I've done it for a few years now, and that works for me. So taking 1 500 milligram in the morning and 1 250 at night will not be the end of the world for me. But let's say I was someone who, there's a lot of side effects to some of these meds. And one for mine in particular is fatigue and drowsiness. I don't experience that from this med, but a lot of people do. It's very common. So a lot of people might take, 1 in the morning, 1 at lunchtime, and 1 at night, because otherwise they're just too spaced out to function in their day. Yeah. So I'm just going to just do a quick glance over of this article. You can check it out for yourself. Absolutely. Like I said, this is a company. This is a .com article. It's not a .org article. I wish this was a peer-reviewed article, but it is not. So the reason that this happens, according to this article at Dose Optimization, it says it's due to a coverage restriction, which helps insurance companies save on costs. Sorry, really? I mean, how broke are the goddamn insurance companies? Is that the argument here? It just makes no sense. Hey, pale blue mama. No, you are not very late. No, I'm upset because I went to get my 90-day. Oh my gosh, I'm so short. Sorry, guys. I was working on my laptop all day, and I have my chair really far down because my laptop's way lower than this computer. Sorry about that. I'm sorry if you were only seeing half my face that whole time. That's terrible. This is why I'm not charging my patrons this month or for the rest of the summer or foreseeable future. I don't even know. Okay, but yeah. So hi. No, I'm upset because I went to get my 90-day prescription of my mood stabilizer, which I desperately need because I'm bipolar and I can't just not take it. Also, you guys should know this. My mood stabilizer is technically an anticonvulsant. It is technically a drug prescribed to people with epilepsy. I myself do not have epilepsy. However, my particular mood stabilizer that is an epileptic treatment drug has this wonderful side effect of stabilizing moods in people like me who have bipolar disorder. So, yeah. So while I don't have epilepsy, this is an off. Oh, I forgot what the technical term is. I knew this when I worked for the Journal of Clinical Psychiatry, but I don't remember in this moment. But essentially, it's an off prescription. It's like, okay, we know you don't have epilepsy, but this drug does this. and you need this, and luckily that mood stabilizing side effect is, is very effective for me. So that's what it is. And the fact that my insurance company can go, oh, look, there's a new dosage out. There's a new dosage tablet of this drug. And you take this many a day. So, yeah, no, we're not going to pay for the lower dosage 90-day prescription that you've had for years. We want you to get a higher dosage one and also get the lower dosage one to supplement that. That's what's going on. And they were only able to give me a 3-day supply. So I am nervous. I'm scared. I have enough through Thursday. After that, I don't know. Hopefully, I'm not. I have a lot of confidence that my doctor will come through for me and make sure that I get and he'll make sure that he calls in the proper prescription. But what's confusing to me is why do I have to have 2 separate orders, essentially? Why can't, because I take 750 milligrams a day. Now suddenly there's a 500 milligram tablet. So I have to take that, and I have to take an additional 250 milligram tablet to meet the dose that I take per day. So why can't I just get the 250 milligram tabs? Why do I have to get why do I have to get one prescription for 500 milligram tabs and a second prescription for 250 milligram tabs? It's not like they're not making these anymore. Okay, so let's see. Oh, yeah, I'm familiar with this. Yeah, Shadow Kitty. Shadow Kitty says, my sister was on Dilaudid for her epilepsy. When she went off her meds, she was mean as a snake. Yeah, sure. Because again, yeah, whether you have epilepsy or not, a side effect of a lot of epilepsy drugs are mood stabilizing. And I'm sure if she had to go off of her epilepsy medication, I'm sure it did affect her mood. Very much so. Yeah, I do take the generic, Sam. Yeah, absolutely. Always and forever generic. Because if you know anything about how drugs are prescribed and not only that, but done, and how drug patents work in this country, which I know a little bit about, again, from working for a psychiatric journal, yeah, there is no reason to ever get the name brand drug of anything. Just double check the ingredients, make sure they're the same, because essentially what they do is patents run out, so they tweak the chemical composition of that drug just enough so that they can get a new patent out on it and then charge consumers more for the name brand drugs. It's not that the name brand drug is any better necessarily. Now, there may be cases where the name brand drug is better. I don't know the whole pharmaceutical array. I'm not an expert on all things pharmaceutical, but it is absolutely worth it to check the ingredients and the makeup of the generic version of the drug versus the name brand version of the drug, because in almost all instances, the generic is going to be a lot cheaper, and with or without insurance, it's going to be cheaper. And in most cases, there will not be a detectable difference for you. Oh, gosh. Okay, I am officially losing my voice. I'm going to have to cut this really short, y'all, and I apologize. But if this happens to you, let me know what you think. If this has happened to you in the past, it's just those of us who live with mental illnesses, we can't go off our meds. We can't. And we have to do the work. We have to do therapy. I have to do cognitive behavioral therapy. I have to take those mindful moments and all of that stuff. Try to get the exercise in. I suck at that, but I try. It's good for the mental health. Um, and I have to do all of that, and it's a whole constellation of things. But it's all good for me, and it keeps me here, and it keeps me mostly okay. And I have days that are worse than others, but I don't, I'm still able to work, and I'm able to work a very demanding job and a very hard job. And I can do that. And I like that I can do that. I don't want to give that up. I don't want to not be able to be my best self. So, yeah. So it's very dangerous for anyone battling a mental illness to suddenly have their medication yanked away from them, because that is part of it for almost everyone. Because thank goodness we are living in a time. I mean, 100 years ago, I might have been diagnosed with hysteria. I might have had a doctor attempt to remove my ovaries without an aesthetic. No, not 100 years ago, the Victorian era, 19th century, right? Probably weren't still doing that in the 1920s, at least I hope not. So yeah, it's a very scary and terrible thing. Yeah, I am. I'm sorry, I sound terrible. Yeah, Julie LaVoy's Liz. It's official. Okay, and on that cracked and beaten and stepped on stiletto heels note, I'm gonna let y'all go, and I'm gonna go back to my tea, and because I have to go to the factory tomorrow and not look like death. Okay, so everybody, please remember, you won't find truth in wine, but you can find it in reason. Love from Memphis to all of you. Thank you so much for showing up. Check out the links in the description if you want to read more about psychotropic medications and how important they are, and also how it should never be, well, the article doesn't exactly say this, but why it is that sometimes insurers will just suddenly say, nope, I'm not insuring your meds anymore. And then you have to, but I think it's wrong that that's not a decision made between patient and doctor. I think it's wrong that that's a decision made by insurance companies and pharmaceutical companies. Let me know. Hey, if you know more than I do and you feel differently, let me know why. I am open to being educated always. But I think this is wrong, and I think it's fucked up. And it definitely added some stress to my life this week that I did not need. Because I can't even tell y'all everything else that's going on. Largely proprietary and work related. All right. So, love from Memphis. And I hope y'all have a great night. And an even better tomorrow. That came out really saccharine and weird. Gross. Forget I said that. Edit it from your brains. Bye.